we're going to be dealing with laws today. Now, the first 5 books of the Bible are the books of the law. So whenever you're reading through in the New Testament and it talks about the books of the law, it's the first 5 books, which are the Pentateuch. They are penta meaning 5, the first 5 books written by Moses. It is whenever you hear verses of this accomplishes all the law and the prophets, it's talking about the first 5 books. And we're going to deal with just one basic principle and try to expound on it and enlarge it and make it more visible to our minuscule sight. If you know anything about the commandments, there are 10 of them. Now, these 10 commandments are not 10 suggestions. They're 10 commandments, and we're going to deal with the first one. Now, anyone knows what's the first commandment? Thou shalt not have any other gods before you. Turn with me to Exodus chapter 20. Now you'll find that this commandment is the one that has more explanation than any other. It continues on for 6 verses. First command has 6 verses. And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which has brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers unto the children, unto the 3rd and 4th generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me, and keep my commandments. Now this morning I got up, and there are times that God will give me a message to preach on Sunday while I'm preaching a message, and I'll have a whole week to work on a message, and I really like those times where God just gives it to me and I'm able to focus and think about it for a whole entire week. Recently, that's not been happening. It hasn't been to where God has been giving me time to work on it. I think mainly it's because it's so tough that I don't want to think about it for a whole entire week. So God has been giving it to me on Sunday morning when I open my eyes. Not a lot of time to work on it. So I'm going to go to my next passage so I can explain to you what God has given me. Deuteronomy chapter 13, verse 6. If thy brother, the son of thy mother, or thy son, or thy daughter, or thy wife of thy bosom, or thy friend which is in thine own soul, entice thee secretly, saying, Let us go and serve other gods, which thou hast not known, thou nor thy fathers, namely of the gods of the people which are round about you, nigh unto thee, or far off from thee, from the one end of the earth even unto the other end of the earth. Thou shalt not consent unto him, nor hearken unto him, neither shall thine eye pity him, neither shalt thou spare, neither shalt thou conceal it, but thou shalt surely kill him. Thy hand shall be first upon him to put him to death, and afterward the hands of all the people. Thou shalt stone him with stones, that he die, because he had sought to trust thee away from the Lord thy God, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt, from the house of bondage. Now to us, this is ludicrous. No, I'm not talking about some rapper. This is crazy. We're not going to kill somebody that's going to take us away from God. I mean, this is part of the law. It's not what we do today. We are politically correct. I'm not telling y'all to go kill anybody, so I have to make sure and say that with emphasis, because it is against the law to kill somebody. Now, we don't live in a time where these laws will be appropriate to take part of. So no, let's not kill somebody, but let's deal with the idea. Now, we shall have no other gods before thee. Only one God. We are supposed to worship God. Now, we live in a nation that says we're a Christian nation. So, we are Christians. We believe in the one God. We believe in the same God of Abraham, the same God of Isaac, the same God of Jacob. And because we believe the same God, this same God has his own laws that he has written. And in his laws it says we'll have only him as God and no other. Now, we don't understand what it is to be living in the land of idolatry. We don't worship the Asherah poles, and we don't have Buddha that we bow down to, and we don't have ancestor worship where I'm bowing down to a picture of my granddaddy. You know, we just don't do that here. You know, I've gone to countries to where they do that, and I look at them with wonder. It's, what are you doing? There's a festival in Japan every year where they worship the male organ, and they have a festival in the street, and they make pastries in the form of the male organ, and they make bread in the form of men's organ, and they throw it to the crowd. And you have people who they have one big log that is shaped in the form of a male's organ, and all the priests go and take part in carrying this big old log across the whole entire city of Japan. And we'll look at that and say, what's wrong with you people? And I think, man, but we've been doing this for the last 800 years. Well, what's wrong with y'all carrying that big old thing for the last 800 years? You know, we'll look at people like if they're crazy. It's like, how do you do that? But we don't realize we have formed gods ourselves. Just our gods are different. And our gods are even worse than their gods. So now I have to emphasize, which is our God? We have formed God in our image. We have made ourselves to be God. We worship and serve our own self. Oh, please get it. I was having a conversation with my older brother yesterday. He was saying a comment, I don't know why that man is still with that woman. He should have divorced her years ago. And I said, but Louis, they are Christians. Yeah, but you know, when you fall out of love, you just need to get a divorce. But Louis, marriage is not about being in love. Marriage is about commitment. Well, I believe that when there's no love, there's no point of keeping going. You're missing the point. Marriage is about commitment. You stood up there and said, until death do us part. Yeah, but if they knew that they were going to fall out of love, they wouldn't have gotten married. You're missing the point. Marriage is not about love. It's about commitment. You know, I said the same thing 3 times, but my brother didn't get it. The reason why my brother didn't get it is because my brother has the God that most of Americans have, the God of thine own self. This is what I want. This is what I like. This is how I want it. We serve God in our own convenience. We'll give to the church when it's convenient to us, when we have extra. We'll show up to service and only stay the amount of time that is convenient to us. We'll only do as much as it's convenient. Everything relies upon how we feel. If we feel like a nut, we act like a nut. And sometimes we do, and sometimes we don't. And everything goes back to how I feel. Why is it that Scripture, do you think that God intended for you to look at Scripture and deal with it or how you feel? Well, you know, I feel that if you feel it's okay, then it's okay. God did not write His word according to how we feel. God said adultery is sin. Whether you feel like it or not, is sin. Fornication, whether you feel like it or not, is sin. Lying is sin, whether you feel like it or not. Oh, it's just a white lie. It's a lie. It's sin. We don't live in a world of definites. We live in a world where everything is a suggestion. Well, you killed the guy. Yeah, but you know, he deserved it. We serve God in the way we want to. So it looks, when you take a panoramic view of our society, you'll find that the way how we live shows in how we are. We know that it is healthy to eat our fruits and vegetables. We know that our body needs fruits and vegetables. We don't know why most of us, our body needs fruits and vegetables, but when we were little, our mommy said, eat your peas, is good for you. Eat your carrots, is good for you. Eat your collard green, is good. Eat the Brussels sprouts, eat the broccoli, eat all the vegetables, everything that grew, eat it, is good for you. And from us being little, I don't like it, it's nasty. I'm full, I can't fit no more. Now, fruits and vegetables make up 5% of our food intake in the United States. 5%. That's how much fruits and vegetables we eat. Now, when people of poverty are giving aid in the United States to buy food, most of them go to the grocery store and buy the microwavable meals, the canned soup and spaghetti and ravioli stuff and things that are full of all sorts of chemicals. And then they find out that the most unhealthy people in the United States are the poor people. Now, my wife and I have needed aid before. So I'm not talking about someone that's way up there that I don't understand. I don't understand what you're talking about. We've lived there. You know, we've both come from poor countries. We know what it is to be without. But man, when we got aid, we went and bought apples and oranges and carrots and cucumbers. And we ate lots of fruits and lots of vegetables. Now, the people know your body needs it. But why don't we eat what we know our body needs? I told you I'm going to put it in a way you'll understand. Because we don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. You know what I want? I want some Rocky Road ice cream. I want McDonald's and Burger King. Give me some Taco Bell. I want to run to the border. We eat what we like. And do you know God is interested in our diet? Did you know that you have some crazy people called Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? Not a big Negro, Abednego. They were offering him food from the king. Come on now, we have now conquered your people. You're the wisest of your folks, so you're going to learn from us. We're going to school you and learn everything you can. And here's all the food. And they say, we don't eat that. Our law prohibits us to eat that. Wait, did it taste good? I'm sure it did. I'm sure it was tantalizing. I'm sure you look at it and it makes your mouth water. I'm sure when the aroma hit the nostrils, it went to the brain instantly. It said, that smells good. But they have come from a tradition that they abhorred doing things that God told them not to do. So it was detestable to them. Oh, let's get to that point where it gets detestable, to where even the smell of it is like, yuck, that is just nasty. That is gruesome. How could you put that in your mouth? So they said, let's make a deal. Let us go ahead and eat our herbs and come back to us in a few days and see if we look healthier than your people. And they did just that. They ate the stuff that didn't taste good. And when they came back to check, their color of their skin was nicer. I mean, their skin was cleaner. They looked stronger. They were healthier. They were awake and not always tired and worn down. So they let them remain on their greeny diet. God stipulated what we should eat and not eat. Now, I don't live in that era, and I'm good to tell you I'm not a Jew, because I like lobster. I like shrimp. I like catfish. I like crabs. I like pork. I like it. John, hey, I'm not Jewish. But I can eat it because I'm not a Jew. But I still need to eat it and not go overboard. When you look at a society where people indulge, they look it. So we expect them to come to church and act the part. Well, I don't know how to act the part at home. So how am I going to act the part in church? I'm used to worshiping me, myself, and I. I got up last night and I was hungry. I wanted to eat something. And I said, you know what? I just finished exercising a few hours ago. My body is sore from the exercise. Why am I going to go eat something right now, knowing I'm going to go lay down, and one moment on the lips and a lifetime on the hips? Why am I going to do that? So I went back to my room hungry. No, you just better than... No, I got the same weaknesses you got. But I'm learning not to worship me. We'll do function. It's like, okay, honey, it's you, me, Elijah, Ariel. Come on, let's get going. Let's do it. We were talking yesterday. Talked with Erica. I said, Erica, how come we attract a lot of people that don't ever want to do anything? How come it's just a handful? You know why? They don't feel like it. That's why. In the back of the head, do they want to? Yeah, they do. They want to. But the problem is putting flight into what you want. It's hard to put flight into what you want. So here is where we have mistaken. We have made idols. And God is looking at us like you are an idol worshiper. You don't bow down to Buddha. You bow down to you. You wake up, this is what I want. We deal with marriage of how I want. We deal with finances, this is how I want. We deal with aborting children because this is how I want. We deal with giving children up because this is how I want. We deal with buying cars we can't afford because this is what I want. Buying houses that are too big than the money you have because this is how I want. We'll get a dog because we saw 101 Dalmatian and we want the Dalmatian because we saw it on the screen and it was cute. And then when we found out that Dalmatians are hard to take care of, we don't want to take care of them no more because this is not what I want. Everything is convenient. Whatever is good for me right now is what I want. I've hurt my back a few months ago, and I found myself not being able to do as much as I would like to. So I got on my Facebook and I started playing my cafe world. And I've been cafe whirling myself since. And cooking like crazy and putting posts on it. Send me this and send me that and send me the other. And then I got so bad that I started writing down all the people that would send me stuff, and I got to just sending those people who send me stuff because I got tired of sending stuff to people and they never send me anything back. But they're always on my screen, send me, send me, send me, send me, send me, send me, send me. And it's like give, and I'm like, I'm giving. Can you please give me something back? Say, well, what is this? How do you get a message to cafe world? Because everybody wants it their way. Give me. I want to cook my meal. I want to finish my super stove. I want to be able to get my stuff. Come on, I'm trying to make it plain. Even in the games we play, we're selfish, arrogant, conceited. Everything we do revolves around us. Well, I just quit my job today. Why? I'm tired of it. They treat me like that. I deserve better. Were they paying you? Yes, that's what you deserved. My wife's cousin came to live with us. He didn't graduate from high school. He got a certificate of attendance. Well, why? Because he lived for himself. He didn't pay attention. He didn't study. He coasted. I'm telling you, I'm talking about where we are. Didn't take the bull by the horns and say, let me do this. Let me sacrifice what I want and do what I'm supposed to do. He didn't do that, so he didn't graduate. 13 years of school to say you showed up. What a waste. So his mother called me, Ronaldo, can you please take my son? Because he thinks now that he's out of school, he's just hanging out with all his friends. It's not working. He's not doing anything. They're in front of the yard every day playing football. 18-year-old boy. Send him. I'll fix him for you. Send him. Came to my house with a big, humongous afro, with the pants to his knees and having the drawers hanging out, and with some bunny pink slippers on. I'm like, boy, what are you doing? Well, it wasn't too long before I cut his hair, made him wear a belt and wear shoes. And I got him a job working at Talladega Raceway. Now he is of my complexion. And he came home the first day and said, I'm not going there no more. I said, boy, yes you are. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. Ronaldo, they call me nigger there. You going back. Didn't you hear me? They look at me and say, come here, nigger. I'm from Miami. I'm going to kill somebody. You going back. I'm not going back to a whole bunch of crackers. I'm not going. You going back. I don't have to put up with this. Yes, you do. Why not? No diploma. That's why. You got to go back. Because it's a job. And he went back. Next day, he didn't complain about what they called him. I know they called him that again. And he went for the whole season. And I know he got called that every day. I know it. Why you make him go back? That's not right. You shouldn't have done that. 18 years old is kind of late to have to learn. You don't get things your way. The second law of thermodynamics. I had to get the simplified version because it was very difficult to understand in its original lingo. Let me give you the simplified version. Everything appears to change eventually, and chaos increases. Nothing stays as fresh as the day one buys it. Everything erodes. Everything comes apart. Everything. If you had muscles in your earlobe when you were younger, just wait. It won't be too long before your ears will just be sagging. Everything just comes apart. You can build a brand new house and let it sit there. Hey, I give it 5 years before you have to go in there and start repairing. But nobody's lived there. Get a brand new car just to have it sitting. It's going to fall apart. Everything does that. Everything does that in us too. We were made to live forever. Do y'all know that? Your bodies were made to live forever. God made Adam to live forever. Nobody knows why people get old. Nobody knows why we get wrinkled. Because it is in our body to heal itself. God put it in us to heal ourselves. But sin came, and God said, from dust you were made, and to dust you will return. And there goes the second law of thermodynamics. Sin caused everything to start to erode. So while we are worshiping ourselves, we are making our erosion faster. Oh, I want it to sink in. Going God's way make us live long. God said it to the Israelites this way: if you keep all my commandments and all my laws, you will be prosperous. You will have your harvest in its season. It will rain when it's supposed to rain. I will even give you that which you didn't work for. But if you don't do what I told you to do, then I curse everything. Simplified version. How do we live for ourselves? If you watch the TV shows, you know what TV shows you like? The one that grabs your lust. That's it. The ones that grab your lust. We are geared for lust. Someone we were talking before we started service about a company that was suggested to us to make advertisements and commercials. You've seen the commercials during Super Bowl time? Why is it that when there's boxing, you went to go watch a gruesome sport of people being punched and probably seeing blood and stuff, but in between every round, you got a girl in bikini holding a sign for the next round. Walking in, why is that? When did that become part of boxing? Because, hey, you're going to get two things down pat in one sport. My urge for violence and my urge for lust. Put the pretty girls up there with the least amount of clothes possible. And we'll watch shows like that. My wife recently started watching shows that are intelligent. You know, she used to watch all the shows that every crazy thing that they can think of they'll do, and it's funny. You know, I forgot what it's called, slapstick comedy. And I would look at that stuff and I'm like, okay, this is not producing intellect. This is just, ugh. And I'll watch her enjoying it, and I don't like this stuff. One day she sat up and watched a program with me. It's like, oh man, can you hold me? It's a little scary. Why is it scary? Because I don't know what's going to happen next. Sitting on the edge of her seat and like, oh, I like these type of shows. These are really smart shows. You know, where they have words that you have to take out the dictionary What did that mean? Entropy. What is that? So she started watching those shows with me. You know, but in the inside, I want to watch the little bikinis too. I do. In me, I want to. But I will not worship myself. I will not have any other gods before God. I'm not going to put me on the pedestal and say, God, I'll come and worship you when it's convenient. Do you know being committed to Christ is putting your life on the line? We don't know it like that. You know where you have to know it like that? If you're in Africa, surrounded by Muslim nations, Muslims have what's called Sharia law. Let me make it simple for you. They find out you're a Christian, they're going to kill you. That's part of their law. Can't be a Christian. So you have to hear it on the news. You know how they kill people in Africa? The common way of killing someone in Africa is with a machete. Not a gunshot to the head. A machete. You know, a machete is not even supposed to be a tool for warfare. It was never intended for that purpose. It's a gruesome way to die. It takes a while. Usually you have to bleed out. But I just accepted Jesus as my personal Savior. Huh? You're going to die. Did someone tell you you're going to die? Well, let me say to you, you live in Africa surrounded by Muslim nations, you're going to die. I know. He gave his life up for me. That's the least that I can do. What? Yeah, it's the least that I can do. He gave up. God came and gave up his life. The day God died. Okay. Hear it? I'm trying to make it graphic so you understand it. The day God died was for you and you worshiping you. Which other religion God came and died for you? There is no other. Okay, could God not have worshipped himself? He is God. Because God had not done what God wanted to do for himself. He's God. There's nothing that God can do for God. And God says, I shall leave my Shekinah glory right up here. Y'all keep it for me until I get back. We don't understand what Shekinah is. The best way that I can explain it to you is a gown. This is the gown that Jesus wears in heaven. It's called Shekinah. It's more so like a wedding gown because he tries to illustrate it to us in a way that we can see it in a picture. And it talks about his train filling the temple. For us who don't know what the train is that thing in the back of the wedding gown that just keeps going. And it says it is so big that it fills up the whole temple. So when Jesus walked in, his glory kept on coming behind him. Oh, ho, 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 ho. In heaven, he was called the most beautiful of 10,000. He gets to earth and he is called, there's nothing comely about him. In other words, you're an ugly lad. In heaven, he was where all the angels, the cherubims, and the seraphim will bow down and call him holy, holy, holy. And he came down to where they spit on his face. They slapped him. They pulled his beard. They pulled his hair. They whooped him with 40 lashes. And they say, prophesy and tell us who just slapped you. He came down from a place where he never had to suffer to where he was on his knees and bleeding from his facial arteries, saying, Father, if you should have this cup pass from me, everything is possible to you, but not what I want, but what you want. And he goes back to those disciples and said, could you not just wait with me 1 hour? Could you not just pray with me 1 hour? Pray, because the tempter is coming. And he went back and prayed again. Father, let it pass from me, but not what I want, what you want. And here we are, making gods to ourselves and say, this is what I want. I know it's not what you want, but this is what I want. And it's my right. How dare us tell God what is our right? Because God told us what is our right. This is what is our right. You will live and you will die. That is your right. Everyone that lives dies. Can't get away from the cycle. Everyone does. You look at Methuselah in his 996 years. Methuselah, man, you almost lived 1,000. How was that? You asking me for? I'm dead. Is it possible for a man to live that long? It's in the Bible. Well, why man don't live that long now? Because after the flood, God says, the age of man shall be 120 years. God says, in other words, I'm not going to let no one else live that long. That time is gone, and it will not come back again. So we strive to live longer. We have what's called quality of life. When does quality of life begin? When you learn that you're not God, that you don't get it your way. God says when you have children, teach your children discipline. How are you teaching discipline? Do not spare the rod, you spoil the child. Why are you teaching your child? You don't get it your way. Then we get to where we're smarter than God. We're going to put you on timeout. Go on timeout. Now we got one even worse. Redirect. We're not even going to give you the benefit that you did something wrong. We're just going to tell you to do something else. You say, oh, come over here, do this. You notice our kids do not have imagination. They really don't. We cater to their every whim. Everything they need. Here. I remember when I used to have to make my own toys. Oh, yeah, I was poor. Give me a clothespin and some cardboard. I'm going to make a toy. You're going to see me. I remember when Elijah was 1 year old. And Elijah's going around the place. And it was his head. He could be anywhere, and he didn't have a toy, but he had his hand. He's like, alum. And now you look at Elijah. What are you doing? I'm on the computer. Why are you in the computer? There's nothing to do. Long gone are these days where you imagine things, where you made your own with nothing. Now you have to have things catered just for you, because this is how we do it. I present to you your God. My God is bigger than me. There's nothing impossible to my God. because it's not limited in me. He will flow through me. Are you trying to tell you do everything? No, I find my own faults. There's not one righteous, no, not one. I have my own dilemmas to where I'm trying to kill that God in me, the God of me. I have every once in a while where it raises up and I have to bring it back down again. Every once in a while I'm like, I need to fast. Why? Because it's coming back up again. This flesh of mine wants to rise back up again. So the hardest thing is to be a living sacrifice. Because I'm alive. I want to crawl off that altar. And I have my struggles. Just like everybody in here. You're looking at me like, well, you're not where I'm like, yeah, I am. Not the same one. But I'm just as human as everyone in here. I've gone to places where you must pray all day because you know how God uses you. I'm going to mess you up. I don't. You must study your Bible all the time to have such insight. I don't. Oh, you just got all this special revelation. That I do. I didn't work for it. I don't own it. I couldn't work for it. I couldn't own it. Can't take out a patent for it. It came from God. Why? Because He felt like it. And what do? Find pastors that feel that they are something. They're up there preaching and they are God. Let me teach you what I've learned. I've learned a lot from experience. And the more I know about God, the more I realize I don't know about God. The deeper I go in God, the more I realize there's more depths. The wider I go, the more I realize He's wider. The higher I go, the more I realize He's higher. So what can I do? If I should be like Solomon, that everything is vanity, all is vanity, all is for nothing. Why do I do this? Why do I keep on doing? Why? None of it is for anything. Why? If I can just reach one, if I can reach one. Do y'all hear me? I went from, God, I want to reach the world, to God, I want to reach 10 million. To God, I want to reach 1 million. To God, I want to reach 100,000, 10,000, 1,000, 100. 1. God, why are you bringing me down to 1? Where God sent His one and only Son. 1. 1 can change the world. 1. Can I be like those people in China who are being martyred today? Yes, I can. To borrow Obama's word for being elected. Yes, we can. You mean to tell me if I go and I know I can get killed in Afghanistan, and I'm going to say I'll go, that I can say that? Yeah, you can. Can I say it now? No, you can't. Why not? You haven't learned to give up the little things. You got to start with the little. Give up the little thing that you know, I don't need to be doing this. This is not good for me. Can I live like that and stick to it. Maybe not. But lots of starts. One day it might stick. One day it might. Start, stop, start, stop, start, stop, start. I'm tired of starting and stopping. You're better than the one that just stuck on stop. Do you hear me? I start and stop a lot of times. Then I get back and God, I need to start again. Then the drive loses and I stop. Then I get convicted and I start. Then I stop. Then I start. And then I stop. And I went back to Miami a few years ago and got together with some of my friends that I grew up with. You know, I noticed they're stuck on stop. I'm like, you're right where I left you 20 years ago. You're right there. You haven't moved. You haven't learned anything. You haven't grown. You haven't adapted. You haven't changed. You haven't been transformed. You haven't been renewed. You haven't strengthened yourself. You haven't endured. You haven't... Where have you been? I've been here. Well, start. And you may stop. But when you look back, you won't be in the starting line. You would at least moved. The water does not move becomes stagnant. And when water becomes stagnant, it does grow life. But it grows parasitic life. It grows life that has to live on that which is growing. So I'm around a whole bunch of parasites all the time. I'm around people who are pricking me and sucking my blood all the time. And I'm like, God, why are they doing this to me? Can't stand it. They can't stand on their own. Because they are stuck on stop. And they can only live off those who are moving. I need to put God back into my life. I need to get me off of that chair of the kingdom of my life and let God be God. I've learned God is God and I am not. I know there's a new religion that says that we are gods. I know that. There's even a verse in the Bible. You can take verses of the Bible and misconstrue it, where God says that you are gods. Small g, not big G. In other words, you're able to make your own will, make your own decisions. Nothing is holding you back from what you decide. But when I get before God, and God shall say, I never knew you, ye worker of iniquity. What do you mean you never knew me, God? Well, I opened the books, and you're not any of the pages. I don't know you. But God, I worship you. Now, you worship yourself. Your decisions were based on how you felt. You didn't inquire from me. You know God feels? You think you're the only one that feels? According to God's word, He feels. That's where we started in Deuteronomy, where God says, kill them. Why? Because God feels. And He says, that sin that you're doing is going to cause everybody else around here to start sinning the same sin. You're going to spread idolatry to the whole nation. So I got to treat you as cancer and cut it out. You mean my selfish ways cause everyone else around me to be selfish too? Yep. Here's the truth. Everyone I know is selfish. There's not one person I know that is not. Well, Mother Teresa wasn't selfish. Yes, she was. She just fought it all the days of her life. Come on, do you not get that? Everybody wants what's good for us. Everyone wants to eat what we want to eat. Do you not get that that's a normal tendency for everybody? We are all born selfish. That's why when kids are little, you got to teach them words like share. We got 2 special need kids. You got to watch them. Gave one some fries yesterday. Share with your brother. Fries. 1 fry. Here. That's not sharing. Yeah, it is. I gave him 1 fry. That's sharing. We're all born with that in us. My wife asked me if she was selfish. I told her yes. Oh boy, she had nightmares. You think I'm selfish? Did I realize we all are. Every single one of us, we're selfish. We have arguments and fights because of what we want. You don't give me what I want, but you don't give me what I want either. We have divorce because we're selfish. Our economy has gone bad because of lots of millionaire selfish people. Do you not see it? We're all born this way. And you know what God says? Kill it. What? Is that what you want? I'm God. Do it my way. You mean to tell me that's the law? Yeah. New Testament said it easily. Love the Lord thy God with all your heart, with all thy soul, with all thy mind, and love the neighbor as yourself. And in this you fulfill all the law and all the prophets. Where is you in there? Did you hear you in there anywhere? Love the Lord thy God with all the heart, with all your soul, with all your mind. Love you first and then love your neighbor. You see it's not there? Did you get the gist? I can't be selfish. I can't get what I want. Oh, we put it in other words. It's my need. I need this. Are you going to die if you don't get it? No, then you don't need it. Well, a man needs a certain amount of sex. No, a man wants a certain amount of sex. Well, it has been proven medically that a man needs it. Jesus didn't get any. Not ever. He wasn't married. I don't care what the movies say. He never got booty once. I know I'm being graphic. I just want you to get it. Did he not have the same urges we have? If he didn't, then he couldn't be tempted. He had to have the same urges we have to be tempted. You ever got tempted by something you don't like? I mean, I've watched people eating bugs in other countries and I'm looking at them putting it in their mouth and it's like, oh my goodness, oh, it has hair on it. Oh, well, nothing in me say, oh, give me some. I want some, I want some, I want some. There was no temptation there. I could have easily said, no, thank you. You're only tempted by the things you want. Hey, make it double chocolate, fudge, brownie, creamy chocolate, milk chocolate. Don't like dark chocolate. Put it in front of me. Do you want some? No, thank you. You sure you don't want some? I want some, but no, thank you. And then you're walking away, you're still seeing it in your mind's eye because you want some. That's called temptation. You want some. And Jesus' whole life, he said, no. We got it, right? He never gave in to what he really wanted. I didn't say it that way, did I? Because he really wanted. Have you gone through the list of stuff that Jews can't eat? And he's been around people that are eating stuff that they can't eat. There was one time that Jesus kind of got back. The demons came out of the man. Legions of them. Would you allow us to go to the pigs? Yes! And all these pigs jumped the cliff and killed themselves. God made the pig. I'm sure he knew that it tastes good. He had to turn that down too. Can you imagine passing by some ribs? Talking about yuck. Just the smell of it? They don't smell bad. It smells good. No, I can't have any of that, so sorry. Being surrounded by fishermen that are catching fish and they can't eat fish without scales? You know how much that limits your fishing? We got to throw this catfish back. You know one thing about catfish, they multiply rather quickly. They multiply faster than fish with scales. I throw those back. We can't eat those. But you can eat locusts, though. Tasty. I'm trying to make it very known. There are things in my life I need to quit because it's not right. Things in your life you need to quit because it's not right. And I cannot put myself as if I'm better than Jesus because he quit it. He never did it. I'm not better than he is. I'm not fairer than 10,000. I look at myself in the mirror. Come on. If one thinks I'm fair, that's good enough. Thank God my wife saw beyond me. And I married a cutie. All of us have work to do. Kill the God that you've put before God. I'm not telling you commit suicide. I mean, I have to tell people things outright because someone's going to hear it and not filter and understand that's not what I said. No, in the inside of you. Paul said it this way: circumcise your heart. Cut out the stuff that needs to be cut out. Well, why you have to circumcise yourself to begin with? Health said that it's not necessary. This shows proof for who you have allegiance to. Man in the Old Testament would drop his pants and you knew that he belonged to the circumcision of the Jew. Now circumcise your heart. No, you don't have to cut it out. You don't have to. You can function without it. But you're not connected unless you do. Work out the kinks. Be a metal worker. Sometimes you got to bang out. I've watched people on that motorcycle show and sit there and they want to get around some surface to a piece of metal, and they're banging and banging and banging and banging and banging. It's like you got all those dents. Then I noticed they take it to another machine that bangs faster, and they grab the metal and they move it on that little machine. And the next thing you know, you have a smooth circle-like shape. How do they get that? They bang the mess out of it. Sometimes we got to bang the mess out of our own selves. Work out the kinks. Do you want to? No, you don't. Are you ever going to get to the point where you want to? No, you won't. Not in this life. You'll always want to do what you shouldn't do. But if we are teaching our kids you can't get your way, why are we the adults that think we can? No more am I going to be my own God. No more. I will have no other gods before him.